There is a new bill in New Jersey that might create a new program within schools that teaches kids kindergarten through 12th grade a social studies course on how to interact with police officers. According to the New Jersey Assemblywoman Sheila Oliver, who first introduced this bill, she said the number of police-related shootings around the nation have created a mistrust of police in many communities. This can help rebuild that trust that is essential for law enforcement to work. This is a lesson many parents already teach their children. Making it part of the school curriculum is the next logical step. They're going to stress, quote, an individual's rights under law in interacting with the law enforcement official with the ideal outcome of conducting interactions between police and civilian in a, quote, manner marked by mutual cooperation and respect. That's the one side. The other side of the argument is saying that by placing the onus on individuals, that's what this implies. It's like kids need to know how to interact with cops, not that cops need to know how to interact with kids. By placing the onus on individuals, whether it be students or drivers, to take responsibility for their safety during police interactions is frankly ridiculous. This according to an ACLU lawyer. What do you guys think?
I asked the black dude.
Let's play. Ask the black dude.
Was like, I do think it's a little ridiculous because we're telling children that you now have to watch how you behave with cops. I feel like we should be teaching children how to interact with people in general and not have to have an outlier of, oh, this is how you should behave with an officer. I mean, and she goes on to state in the article, especially persons of color, because they're being shot and killed, at point blank gun range in their car, lately. I think it's sad. It's just sad that this is happening. But on the other side, if we're teaching our children from a young age, maybe less deaths will happen in the future. And there maybe something positive will come out of it. I mean, what else can you say?
I'll tell you what. There's a lot of stuff that you learn over the course of your life through really, that someone should have taught you ahead of time. Like I was once at a mall in suburban Thousand Oaks, so this is not like an intense urban story, but a police officer was being a dick to us, being like, don't stand on the bench. And the way I would diffuse a situation in real life, I was like, sir, I put my hand on his shoulder or elbow, and he was like, don't do that. And it's illegal to touch a cop. I didn't know that. No one told me that. So I would appreciate some kind of guidance to everyone on that. I think an upside of this is if it can create a shared language between civilians and police officers, that just like if they teach, as long as they're teaching the police this and the civilians this, where then everyone kind of can signal. It's almost like a code word to say, I've taken this course. I don't want to piss you off. I want to act respectfully right now.
Sure.
Unfortunately, that relies on the police not going on a power trip, which is a really difficult thing to find.
Yeah. Go ahead, Grace. I'm sorry.
No, please. I mean, look. Here's what I was thinking of when I was reading through the stories. So this is Sheila Oliver is a Black American. She is an assembly leader. This is her district that she serves are predominantly people of color. Like this isn't something that would be introduced in my neighborhood, and that's what's so fucking sad is because it's not white kids that are gonna have to learn this, that feel like it's necessary when they are pulled over at a traffic stop. And that breaks my heart is that there is a community that's like, all right, well the police aren't getting any better. Philando Castile complied with everything. You can be as polite as you want to be to an officer, and that still doesn't guarantee that you're gonna get out of that alive. There's a real concern in this country in certain communities. And instead of seeing like white communities, honestly, rallying around and going to Black Lives Matter marches and like making sure that we are all one and connecting with all our communities, where it's just one, it's this predominantly like multicultural community that's like, fuck it, we're gonna do it ourselves. We're gonna teach our kids how to do that. And it's frustrating that that is what the response needs to be. I think that said, I think it is important that kids know their rights, because you were talking about a situation where you weren't aware of like what the proceedings are and like what your rights are. I think that's really important, but I also think we need to put a major onus on the law enforcement. They're supposed to keep us safe.
Absolutely, Grace.
It shouldn't be on kids.
It's sad that this is where it's at. Like that, this is one of those indicators that it has gotten so bad, and hopefully that the police training improves so that this kind of stuff doesn't have to happen. But then again, like I'd rather kids find a way to interact with police officers then through a course where they say, here are the 5 things that you need to do, then have kids learn the hard way. Sure. That said, this does not ensure that they won't learn the hard way anyway.
Because onus, Grace, you took the words right out of my mouth. Thank you for that. Because I also want to say, people in and out of impoverished or urban communities are afraid of the cops. I live in Woodland Hills. I have friends in Calabasas that are Black and have been pulled over. And the first thing one of my friends told me was, every time I get pulled over, which she's been pulled over twice in the last month, is why am I fearing for my life when I get pulled over in Calabasas? So it's happening not just in urban communities. With that said, onus, you spoke about onus. I do think that, I don't know if there's any initiatives that are rolling out for law enforcement on how to be better, or be a more effective communicators with civilians, but I think that cops need to start realizing that they are not above the law. That there is, I've been talking about compassion lately. That you have to have a sense of compassion when dealing with the youth, especially because, Brett, there was no reason for that cop, and I'm not sure how he interacted with you in your situation, but there's no need for a cop to say, hey, don't touch me. I have 5 cops. I have 5 uncles that are cops. And I've seen them interact with the public. And they're in New Orleans, Louisiana, who historically was known for being one of the most violent cities in the United States of America. So they would have never have treated you that way.
I probably was just being a shit kid, but if I was a shit kid who knew not to touch a police officer, there wouldn't have been that situation.
Absolutely. And the point I'm illustrating is that it needs to be onus. The law enforcement needs to take the leadership on this and not put it on urban children or anyone that's not in law enforcement.